What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to your Phillies game recap, streaming to you here on DSM Media's YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter accounts. Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you check us out on Twitter first and foremost at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly appreciate it. And then while you're over on the channel, make sure to check out the link tree in our bio. It'll take you to every social media platform we are available on. If you guys want to be interactive throughout tonight's show, the best spot to hit us up is to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Turn on notifications. It's the best place to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up. We're also streaming live here on El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications as well for him. I'm your host, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my left in the co-host chair, yet again, 2 shows in one day for the duo here. Mr. El Parcero Philly himself. You can find him on Twitter at Parcero Philly. Phillies lose their second straight series to start the year, falling to the New York Yankees 4-2 as they win only 1 of 3 up in the Bronx. They are now 1-5 on the young season. Home opener tomorrow, already postponed due to weather. They will play at 3:05 on Friday afternoon. Don't worry, everybody. Nick Sirianni will still be throwing out the first pitch to kick off the home opener. But on this game recap, we are going to go over the positives, the negatives, and kind of look into the future here, my man. But you were right. You were right on the pregame, man. Not feeling a win today, and here we are. How are you feeling?
I mean, like I said, I don't want to be the pessimistic guy, but I just didn't feel like a victory was coming here. And so the Phillies figured out how to get the win. They got that on Tuesday night. So now I felt like this one is like, you got to figure out how to win those close games. And the Phillies had an opportunity to win the game here at the end. Mm-hmm. But, it just, there wasn't enough here today. And I'm sure we have a lot to talk about here. It was an interesting game as well. I think the biggest positive was Aaron Nola for sure.
Absolutely.
But I think that now the Phillies need to figure out how to get some wins. And now, listen, American League teams is a different animal. You come back home against Cincinnati, you never know what happens. But I think that these first 2 series, Dylan, are learning experiences. And I think that I always say, like, failure is the best learning experience that there is. And so I'm hoping that with these 2, it's just building this team up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you, man. We'll start there with the positives because, to be honest, there weren't many to come out of today. The only other one I have outside of Aaron Nola's bounce back game is Kyle Schwarber hitting his second home run of the year in as many games today. Is he kind of maybe figuring things out at the plate, finding his groove a little bit? But Knowles was the major positive today, bouncing back after a really rough 4th inning on opening day and ultimately getting pulled there. 6 innings pitched. That was our goal, right? He got through those 6 innings completed, tried to come back out in the 7th, but couldn't quite find his mark, walked the leadoff guy, and that was it for Aaron Nola. 5 Ks, 3 earned runs, obviously was charged the first runner on the bases when Gregory Soto ultimately gives up the game-winning home run, which we'll get into Gregory Soto in a few minutes, I'm sure. But I 110% agree with you. I think if there was something you can take from this game and move it towards the future and say the Phillies will be okay because it was the fact that you saw Aaron Nola bounce back, look a little bit more comfortable with that pitch clock. Obviously, there was a lot of talk on the broadcast about his work, throughout the last couple of days, throwing his bullpen sessions, using the clock, everything like that. But I thought Knowles was really good today. Unfortunately, he's got a tough at-bat against Gleyber Torres later on in the game. 0-2 count, 2 outs. John Kruk is repeating himself over and over again. Do not throw him a strike. Do not throw him anything close. Leave something right up and over the plate on an 0-2 count. He rips it back up the middle. The first run, by the way, the Phillies, again, did not lose because of bad officiating or an umpire. But that first inning, I'll come out and say, was utter BS. Aaron Judge, or not Aaron Judge, whoever. Oh, yeah, it was Judge. Was rung up as a runner was stealing second. Don't call it. Guy still second because of it. Very next pitch, driven into the outfield for a 1-0 Yankees lead. Had some negatives within the start, but an overall really, really strong start from Aaron Nola.
Dude, and you know what's crazy is that what we talked about during the pregame show was I was really intrigued of how Aaron Nola would handle the top of the lineup there.
Yeah.
I mean, the top of the lineup only had 3 hits. I mean, obviously that's throughout the whole entire game, but I thought Aaron Nola looked really calm and composed against those guys, and that was my main concern because obviously you see Judge out there. It's daunting task there. And obviously Glaber gets the bat, the break, the twig broke, and of course, brought in Aaron Judge. But no, I mean, I think for Aaron Nola, it's a positive. And look, it still wasn't perfect. We had 3 earned here, but at the end of the day, it's a building block that Aaron Nola could absolutely build off of. What's more concerning to me is obviously the bullpen, and more importantly, it is Gregory Soto, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, man, let's get into Mr. Gregory Soto as our first negative here. Because to be honest, I don't know what he is, Parcero. I really don't. He came over and I had high expectations for him, and 3 outings does not a season make for the guy. So I'm not, just going to bury him immediately, but he had an awful debut on opening day for the Phillies when Topper called his number to keep the game tied at 5-5. Wasn't able to do so. Didn't record an out, actually. Bounces back in his second outing, 1, 2, 3 innings, struck out multiple batters in that inning. And then today, like I said, the Yankees won 4-2. He allowed, with 2 strikes on, was it Trevino, I believe, who just sticks the bat out on a curve. And that was ultimately the game-winning home run there to put them up 4-2. He also struck out 3, but walked 2 in the inning, plus the home run. Like, he's all over the place. He threw almost 30 pitches in this lone inning, dude. I don't know what to make of Gregory Soto so far.
I think what's the bummer, though, Dylan, is that it's the expectation. And I know, we shouldn't always get overhype over expectations, but the thought was you're getting a stud piece.
Getting an all-star.
To add into your bullpen. And so it hasn't looked per se like that. I'm hoping that more seasoning helps and gets more comfortable with his team and his role in the bullpen. You talked about solidified roles. Maybe that's something that he genuinely needs, but it just hasn't looked promising. That's the concern right now with Mr. Soto.
It sucks because I feel like I try to be the opposite of the typical Negadelphia type of mindset, right, that we have in this city.
You're pretty logical. I'll give you that.
Yeah, thank you. But he is the definition of, like, why is it that players come here and forget how to do their jobs? After he gave up the 2-run home run to Trevino, the broadcast had to throw it in my face that in his first 3 outings, he has given up 5 runs or 6 runs in a Phillies uniform. He only gave up 4 runs in his first 22 outings last year with Detroit. Where did that dude go? Where did that all-star closer, 22 of 27 save opportunities guy go? I know he's not in that closer role. Maybe you are right. Maybe there's something there's something there in terms of he needs to know where, he's going to get called. His number's going to get called each and every day. But, man, the kid has come in with a 1-run ball game and a 2-run ball game. A tie ball game and a 2-run ball game, in 2 of his 3 outings, and he's had the wheels fall off in each of them. So not positive for Gregory Soto to start. One other player I want to key in on here before I get to my biggest negative. The Phillies can just leave Christian Pache in New York. I learned today that his name is Pache. Newsflash, but no one cares. No one cares. Pache. No one cares anymore because you can't do your job. Did you know, Parcero, after today, of course, his first AB comes up with runners in scoring position. In 4 of his first 6 at-bats in a Phillies uniform this year, he has had 2 base runners on in 4 of those 6 at-bats and has brought in 0. He comes in, he swings at the first pitch yet again with runners in scoring position when the Phillies are trying to get to Garrett Cole. Then the one bright spot this kid's supposed to bring to the table is his defense.
Yeah.
DJ LeMahieu was rounding third when this kid scooped the ball into his glove. I don't know if he gets him out. I don't really know what his arm looks like. He just holds on to the ball. And, thankfully, Topper, whether it was because of the batting or a combination of everything this kid was doing negatively, pulled the plug, man. Took him out for Josh Harrison.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Josh Harrison comes in and swings at the first pitch and ends the inning as well. But I don't need to see Christian Pache in a Phillies uniform anymore because here's the bottom line. The kid's not a major league player. I hate to say it. He's just not. Whether he will be someday, I don't know, but he's not right now. And when you're a team like the Phillies, yes, you've started so poorly, but when you have championship expectations, there's no room on your roster. There's no room in your starting lineup for guys that aren't ready to play at this level. I'm being dead serious. I would rather have Scott Kingery in center field than Christian Pache.
Oh, that's not bad. But okay, so here's my thing with the whole Pache situation. Like when you traded for him, you knew that he was a work in progress.
Absolutely.
You knew that his weakness was the bat.
Yep.
So I guess my question is, why did we bring him up right off the bat? Like, why not try to continue developing? You've done it with previous prospects like this before. Why not put him down in AAA, let him figure it out, and then eventually bring him up here? I mean, I agree. Like, I'd rather see Scott Kingery out there as a bench piece in the outfield than bring up Christian Pache, who he obviously needs an
automatic out.
And you know what's the problem, Dylan, is that you're probably going to fuck with his confidence, and now you're probably not going to be able to get anything out of him, even if you do bring him down now. So I'm it's a head scratcher because the A's get themselves a prospect in Jake Sullivan too, and he's down in AAA. So why are we bringing up Pache? It's not like we're dying for an outfielder. So just the situation in general just doesn't make sense to me.
Especially when you think about the Phillies' past with prospects and not bringing them up soon enough, not bringing them up when, the fan base and analysts think they should be up. They keep them down there for as long as possible. Now this kid comes in, hasn't even been here long enough to unpack his suitcase, and he's got 2 starts. Now, to his defense and to Rob Thompson's defense, he was only out there because of a late scratch to Brandon Marsh with a left ankle sprain, right? So this wasn't like Sunday Night Baseball where Thompson threw him out there on a hope or a whim. But yeah, man, I don't need to see it anymore. Scott Kingery, it really, like Parcero, I'd rather have Roman Quinn back in Philadelphia, and I couldn't stand Roman Quinn. Could not stand him. He's got a better chance of getting on base than Christian Pache does at this point, right, man? So yeah, I don't understand the need for him to be up. I don't understand the need for him to be playing. He is a complete and utter net negative in this lineup. Other negatives throughout this game that I thought after the Phillies kind of changed things around, and I thought they changed some of the momentum on Tuesday night. More sloppy baseball, more sloppy base running. Trey Turner picked off at first base. Derek Hall trying to stretch a single into a double from that short wall. I literally said it as he's doing it. And I was like, that's not a double. And my stepdad was like, no, I think it is. I'm like, no, not a chance. And then the camera turns and he's chucked, man. And then he ultimately.
Cole agrees with you here, Dylan.
Yeah, and dude, I am not trust me, Cole, I ain't banging the drum to have Scott Kingery up in Philadelphia for playing in the majors right now. But I would take him 7 days out of the week over this kid. Okay.
I'm already I haven't gone under the Twitter recap comment section, but I'm sure it's resign Pache all over that.
Oh God, dude. Yeah, Cole wants Kingery out. Listen, man, I think to Parcero's point about messing a player up and confidence-wise, I think the Phillies and the Gabe Kapler era, etc., did enough of that to Scott Kingery. I don't know if he'll ever turn into the prospect we once thought he would be, but I promise you, you would have more confidence with him at the plate right now. And he hasn't seen a major league pitch in God knows how long in the regular season. And I'd rather him over Christian Pache, man. But Parcero, the biggest negative of all was nothing that the Phillies, did in this game. You and I brought some positive injury news in Bryce Harper to the pregame show, and it punched us back in the face, man. 20 minutes before first pitch, Brandon Marsh left ankle sprain, no-go, day-to-day. Derek Hall, as I just mentioned, on that base running error, jams or sprains or breaks his thumb. We don't know yet, but the bottom line is they were going to reevaluate him tomorrow. They've already called Cody Clemens up. That doesn't look like promising news for the Derek Hall injury. You're already without Reese. You're without Bryce. You're without Suarez. You're without Painter. You're without, I don't love Nick Nelson, but you're without a bullpen piece or two. Now you're without Hall and potentially Marsh. Harrison just tweaked his ankle. The injury bug is killing the Philadelphia Phillies right now, and they're 1-5. Life isn't looking easier.
Yeah, no. I mean, listen, it's happened before from World Series losers all the freaking time. Yeah, I'm with you, Cole. I'm definitely with you. I do think though that with these type of situations, Dylan, it's extremely important for as far as I'm talking about the players that are healthy that are here. Mm-hmm. Worry about yourself. Worry about getting your game right. And the Clemens of the world, that they'll figure that out as
Right.
well. So for JT Realmuto, Nick Castellanos, Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, the guys that are here, go out there and keep punching away, man. Because listen, we need those. This is still a formidable team, and the bigger
Absolutely.
problem is that those guys haven't fully gotten it all together. So injuries happen, but we got to keep pushing, Dylan.
No, absolutely, man. That brings me kind of to my next point here that I wanted to bring up throughout today's game was the Phillies lineup was frustrating at times today. Their approach, their shockness by 2-strike fastballs from Garrett Cole, like they're waiting for something else, as if he's not pumping 98 on the corners to the first 3 guys he sat down looking. The first pitch swinging is extremely frustrating, especially from guys coming right off the bench and pinch hitting. What was this to you? Was this a cold, bad day at the office for the Phillies lineup, or was this just a dominant ace in Garrett Cole?
What's funny is that, like, we talked about in the pregame show of how, like, what are we going to actually get from Nola and Cole? Like, we know they're good pitchers,
Right.
but we also know that they're shaky, and they both gave
Yeah.
solid performances. I think personally, it's back to the whole confidence thing with the Phils, right? And so I thought Garrett Cole was solid, but I just thought that the Phils just did not have enough there. And I mean, I alluded to a little bit earlier, but I thought the ump calls at times was, it was a little suspect.
Kevin Long was ejected for a reason.
Wasn't Nick too ejected?
No. They thought it was Nick at first, and because they were side by side in the dugout arguing the call. Nick, it wasn't Nick. It was Kevin Long that got the boot.
So I mean, yeah. So that to me, it was just a little suspect, man. A couple of those sliders that were, lingering on the line, man. He was just calling them strikes all day.
Yeah. No, I did not love the home plate umpire today. I don't think I'll be honest with you. It wasn't just Phillies. I don't think either bench loved what was going on today. I don't think either bench knew what was a strike and what wasn't for 50% of this game today.
And that's frustrating, man.
One positive that I skipped over. I'm glad Cole dropped this comment. Bryson Stott, man. The kid continues to improve and impress, and his at-bats are something else. Like, his at-bats just aren't long drawn out at-bats to get a guy like Garrett Cole's pitch count up and, whatever. Maybe he throws 9 pitches, but then ultimately Stott is sat down or strikes out or whatever the case is. Dude, he's running pitch counts up to 7, 8, 9. Then he'll walk. He's running pitch counts up to 7 and then ripping a double the opposite way like he did today. The kid is impressive so far early on in the season.
It's like he's been in this league for like 5-10 years.
Yeah. Maybe that's what happens when you're roommates with Bryce Harper, right?
Let's just keep that going. It's like when Danny Briere had all these Flyers players come in. Yeah. Bryce Harper just keeps doing that with the young kids. But no, I mean, we saw a little bit of this last year, Bryson Stott, but it just seems like now he's a major leaguer. Like, there's no worrying about going back down. He obviously helped them make it to the World Series. He's a part of this. He's an integral part of this. And so it's just really impressive how he can just control the at bat. And I think that, to me, it's just years above where he's at right now. And so continuing to get that contact, and he's been doing a great job of just getting those extra bases as well. So, man, the sky's the limit for Bryson Stott, brother.
Parcero, looking forward, obviously, we know they take the 4-2 loss today, 1-5 on the season, no game tomorrow, so they'll have 3 straight at the bank over the weekend against the Reds, and then they'll have 3 more at home against the Miami Marlins. I mentioned this even before the first win when they were 0-4. The goal to me right now is getting back to 500, right around 500 baseball. I know the Reds, what are they, 3-1 to start the young season. The Reds lack what I like to call talent. They are not going to be a very good team this year. So I think there is a very real possibility. The Phillies, obviously need to win the series. That's the goal, right? I think there's a real possibility this team can sweep the Cincinnati Reds in their opener. That puts them back at 4-5.
Okay, Dylan.
It puts them back at 4-5, and they're right back to that even number. If the Phillies are to turn things around this weekend, Barcero, who or what is the reason why?
I mean, I think it's got to be the bats, to be honest, because I feel like this is going to be a weekend where you're going to have some solid pitching. Even bullpen games, you don't have to worry about that from what you saw yesterday, right? So I think to me, it's about the bats. You're back at home. You're back at CBP. Obviously, Schwarber just had a solid series with 2 home runs in it. But let's get that power going. Like, let's get those runs going. Base running was an issue, like you mentioned here today. Power has been lacking a little bit. We're at what now? 4 home runs for our boys.
Four.
Yeah, 4 on the season for our boys. So I want to see the power back at the bank, man. And what the weather does hold up for this weekend in general, I haven't really checked that out.
I think it's good for the rest of the weekend.
If it's like today, I better see that ball flying, man.
Jumping. Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I do believe first and foremost they need to clean the little things up because championship level teams just don't play this sloppy level of baseball. There's not multiple base running errors in back-to-back games. There's not fielding errors in back-to-back games. There's not multiple bullpen miscues, first pitch swinging off the bench. They need to clean up the little things, and then I think the big things will start to come. It's so crazy because the first 4 innings of opening day, this team picked up right where they left off, man. Extra base hit after extra base hit. Boom, homer off of DeGrom, back-to-back triples, double. They were on fire. I think they had 7 extra base hits in the first 4 or 5 innings. And then it all just disappeared.
And they realized they're in the regular.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. Parcero, before we get out of here, before we wrap this up, anything else from today? Anything else moving forward that you're looking at?
I thought it was interesting that some of the rules came into play. There was that one hit early in the game. Anthony Rizzo took advantage of no shift and stop. Tough job over there. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the walk on the walk on Castellanos on a full count because Garrett Cole ran through the pitch clock. So we're starting to see how the new rules are starting to affect some of these players and the adjustment that they do have to make. Listen, we can argue whether we agree or disagree with it. The fact of the matter is it is here. Yep. So all these players do need to adjust with it. So it's going to be interesting how the pitch clock, the shifting, and all that stuff does affect this team and just baseball in general going forward.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good point, and I feel like, I guess just because of their early struggles and hearing them talk about it, and this is the team that I follow, right? It feels like no team has struggled with these new rules more than our Phillies, sadly, and whether that's, World Series hangover, whether that's guys playing, like, think about that, right? JT made a comment after the first game saying how tired he was catching, right? And he never really has felt like this because of how sped up the game was. And part of me was like, dude, I hear you. It's going to be an adjustment, but please zip it and move forward and figure it the F out. However, you forget that 2+ weeks ago, 3 Phillies and JT, the catcher, were just playing old form of baseball in the World Baseball Classic.
Oh, that's true.
So you go from that to the old rules, no pitch clock, no sped up, nothing, to coming back and having to play at this tempo and this rate. I'm sure it is a bit of adjustment, but like you said, regardless of how you feel about it, it's here, and it's here to stay, right? That's the mindset you have to have. So you need to figure it out and figure it out quick. So I'm glad that the Phillies got the first win out of the way. They weren't swept in back-to-back series. They're not winless heading back home, but you need, I like Cole's comment earlier. I'm more pissed than panicked. I'm really not panicked yet, but God forbid these struggles continue and these injuries continue and this team is 2-9 or so. Then things can really get out of hand, man. Then your hand might start slipping closer towards that red button.
Dude, but, baseball is the ultimate grind, man. You just got to literally take it one game at a time. And for the Phils, you're focused now on the Reds.
That's why I love it. That's why I love this sport, because positive or negative, obviously they have an off day tomorrow now, but like, you have to have a quick, like, you get to get back in the positive and change the momentum the very next night, right? Like, so if Philly's bad loss, well, guess what? In 20 hours, they get to change the narrative, right?
Literally, man. So hopefully it's a fun weekend. It's opening day at the ballpark, so it should be a fun one, Dylan. You're working this weekend. Let the people know.
I will be up to Pocono. So with that said, the laptop will be taken with me. The game recaps, I'm trying to think. I will probably, with no game tomorrow, I will probably get a Saturday recap in for the Friday game, the home opener. Probably no recap on Easter. I'm coming home pretty busy after that, but then we'll be right back at it. Hit the ground running. Faithful Fanatics with myself and Scotty, 8 a.m. Monday morning. Then we'll have another game recap, then a pregame show. So we will be busy after this weekend, my man. But hopefully, I'm coming back to a 4-5 ball club.
Yeah, same, man. Same, brother.
All right, guys. With that said, that is going to wrap up this Phillies game recap number 6 of 162 here on DSM Media's YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter channels, as well as my man El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel. If you guys are new to ours or his channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on both. Turn on notifications for whenever any of us go live here at Team DSM. For myself, for Parcero, have a great rest of your night.
Go.